like a little man that likes cuddling. Really getting on my nerves. Welcome back to another episode of Not My Bag. I'm Joe.
And I am George.
And today we are joined by the queen of reality TV. It is Georgia Harrison. Woo! How are you?
Even better now. That was a great introduction.
I know. Well, you pretty much are, aren't you, really?
I mean, I've been around the reality TV scene. There's not many things I've skipped.
You have. When did you start doing reality telly? Must be...
So, 10 years ago now.
10 years this year?
Yeah, this year, because I'm 29. My first TV show was Towie when I was about 19. So, probably bang on 10 years ago.
I didn't realise you were on Towie.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I mean, you could have blinked and you'd have missed me. I got dropped so quick.
Wait, tell me more.
So I first went on when I was 19. I was working as a shop girl in Marbella. And my storyline was I basically snogged Lou Blore, who'd been filming for a little bit. I don't know if you can remember Lou Blore.
Yeah.
And I got brought on for the first series of The Only Way Is I Be Fast. So my first ever episode was filmed in like Cafe Mambo's.
Why did I
so
not know
funny.
this happened?
Yeah.
So who was in your cast? Was it like, obviously, Arj? Joey was still on it?
No, Joey had gone, but Arj was there, Vass, the GC was still there,
Stop
Bobby.
it.
Yeah, there was like some brilliant
So
characters
like
still
some
there.
proper OGs, yeah.
Yeah, it was like just on the time when it still had some like really strong OGs in it.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's crazy.
You never really talk about that though, do you? Or do you? Because I've never really known about that. But then
Yeah.
I guess I never knew how we did an IB for things. There's so many series. There's like
You were
30.
probably
Yeah.
like 2 years old, to
Yeah.
be fair.
Well, I wasn't.
Wait.
See what I mean? He acts like I'm a child.
Was he 12? I know. Was
Okay,
he
how old was
12?
I? 11. Okay,
Yeah.
That's so depressing.
fair.
And what did you do before Towie?
So I was like a full-on shop girl. I mean, for a bit, I worked in an office.
Oh my God, I'm so
that was
obsessed with
after
this.
Towie. In between Towie and Love Island, I went back to an office for a bit. But
Yeah.
before Towie, I was a shop girl in Marbella and also sometimes in London. I used to make a fortune.
Oh my God,
in
I love
London.
that. Everyone says this about being a shop girl.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always the one that's like, suckers to them. If they come over and they've got a tray, I'm like, yeah, I'll take the whole tray.
whole tray,
I'll take the
literally.
whole tray.
But I will now as well because I emphasise for them. Do you know what I mean? It's horrible. But then I won't drink them because I know that them cups do not get cleaned properly.
You're lying.
Like not well.
What,
like
like
a
the,
lot of the time you fill them back up.
You've just ruined my
The
entire day.
tequila
Do you know
roses
that?
and that. They
yeah,
don't
no,
look
like
like
the
they get
Jaeger
washed.
bombs
Oh,
and stuff
don't.
like that.
They don't
What's your
like-
favourite shop? Go-to shop?
Yeah, probably tequila now, but it would have
Is
been
it?
a Jaeger bomb back in the day.
I like the Jaeger
like
bomb too.
you couldn't pay me to do a Zambuca. That makes you feel physically
Oh,
sick.
that's
Are
disgusting.
they the ones they set fire to?
Yeah, they say there's the calories of Big Mac and a cheeseburger in a Sambuca. Like, I'd rather have a shot of tequila and a fucking cheeseburger. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I
Rather
mean?
than just one.
I've learnt so much on this pod already. We've literally been going 5 minutes. I'm loving having you here.
Apparently people drink Sambuca and pineapple. That's
No, a
absolutely
tequila and pineapple is a Craig David, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which you chase it with it, which I actually really like.
Yeah, it takes away the pain.
Wait, what does a Craig David mean? Is this
No, that's so you have like a little bit of pineapple, tequila, another bit of pineapple, and it like washes it down.
Why is that a Craig David?
Maybe he likes them.
Is that the song? And then
love
Monday, Tuesday.
I don't-
When? Is that why it's called a Craig David?
Anyway,
Sorry.
and then so I mean, I actually didn't know about the Towie thing, and then you went on to Love Island, didn't you?
Yeah.
Was that your first like proper reality TV thing?
Well, Towie still
Or-
counts.
Yeah, but like, I mean, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, it was the first thing that like really like got me
you
to
out there.
Well, got me to the point where literally I could throw away like the paper off my desk and like just basically like rip up my day job and be like, it's done. And yeah, because it was like they weren't sure if they wanted to actually allow me onto Love Island because I'd done Towie before.
Right.
Because like
Oh.
normally you never see someone from a different reality show
True.
go onto Love Island.
Joey Essex.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Joe definitely slipped through the net there.
I
but
know, didn't he?
Prior to that, you hadn't. And like, yeah, they were unsure. But I was on there for literally 2 weeks, Love Island, and I got 800,000 followers because it was like when it was at its peak.
That's
is just
crazy,
2
isn't it?
weeks.
Crazy. That is
Yeah.
when you would literally come off and we would sit there and watch people's numbers by like 100K a night. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And obviously you had that. And it's just insane.
I know,
You'll
2
never
weeks.
ever get that growth from anything else, really.
No,
do ya?
I remember sitting in like the dumping villa with Sam, and we was just refreshing our feed. Like every like 10 minutes, it was going up by like 20,000.
It's
And it was
just
just like, oh
insane.
my
I don't know
God.
how
Like, that
you
doesn't happen
experience-
anymore.
Yeah.
What did you do? What was your reaction? What did you do?
Brilliant. Like, I was
Money's
just like,
saved.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was
Oh my
like,
God.
God.
Yeah, no, that's wild. I think maybe because there's been so many seasons now, and I think when they started to bring in like the winter ones, I think then there was just a lot going on, wasn't there? Just like any show, innit? You just then get like a lot of contestants
What
to
did you
follow.
prefer? First time you were on Love Island, or obviously the All Stars you just done?
I enjoy them both, but I definitely think the first time, because that's when you're just like,
Bit more
wow.
raw, innit? And
Yeah, it's more exciting. I was only 21, and every day I was in there, I knew for a fact that my whole life was going to change.
Yeah.
Whereas like now you go in and you know, like one, you have more to lose because you're already at a stage where you've built up a good career.
Yeah, true.
And two, it's like, it's never going to take you into a whole new dimension of reality. Whereas like the first time, I just knew for a fact my life was going to be completely different.
And as
after
we
that.
just said, like the show has changed a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
like, you know it's not going to be the same, really.
Because I didn't watch the first season you were on, so I actually got to know you on All Stars, but I thought you had such a fun vibe.
Yeah.
Like, I
It was
also
really
thought
good.
you seemed like really well-grounded compared to a lot of people on there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I felt like you knew yourself going in there, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
It was giving the vibe that you were just being you, and then obviously there was a lot of other people like, I've fallen off a bit, maybe I need to... Do you know what I mean? That's what you got. So yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I want to ask about the spirituality thing because I'm quite a spiritual person. Is that something that you've like grown to love and like found passion in later in life, or have you always been like that?
No, so I think like when I was younger, I was just sort of, I believed that like life is just whatever happens to you, happens to you. Like I didn't think we had much control of our reality.
Yeah.
And I never really aspired to achieve anything more than just like a standard living, to be honest. And then my best friend gave me the secret when I was 17. And before that, I probably had like a bit of a tumultuous past, if anything. Like just like things didn't go that well for me and I just weren't in the best of places. And then as soon as I read that book, I started practicing manifestation and I could just see that it was 100% working. Like just outcomes were becoming so much more positive for me. Like so many more doors were opening and I could see that just by changing my mindset slightly, my reality became to change.
Yeah.
And that's when I sort of went on a path of spirituality. And that's when I started realizing that actually there's just more to life. And like if you change your frequency and you change what you're looking for, the universe gives you different things, but you have to believe it and you have to look for it to happen. And that's when it first started. But then as years went on, I became just far more spiritual and so many things happened to me that just were such crazy coincidences.
Sure.
It wasn't even normal.
Is it like a daily thing for you to sit there and be like, right, I need to manifest this? Or is it just like, as you said, like kind of if and when it comes, like you want something, you'll manifest for it? Like, is that one of the main things you do as well? Just manifest things?
Yeah, like when
it's like such a different world, especially I think to both of us, isn't it? Because I don't know, I kind of live by like, oh, everything happens for a reason, but then obviously you meet someone like you and you're like, no, you can actually like,
oh, I manifest
your
all the
way sort of thing.
time.
Do you know what I mean?
I did a little there was a blood moon recently and I wrote everything down and burnt it, but I set the fire alarm off in my flat and then I had to throw, because I put this really flammable card and then like there was a full fire, I had to throw it in the sink. And then also things have been pretty shit since that moment, so I'm like, I did it wrong. I think I did it wrong.
Well, that's more letting go of things, isn't it? But I've done something like that before. I burnt something on a full moon and I threw it out the window because it was on fire and went into the neighbour's garden and it was only half burnt and there was some really cringy stuff on there. So then I'm like crawling in the neighbour's garden trying to get it back because it's all like, oh, I let go of this boy because it's broken my heart. I thought, mate, I can't let anyone see that.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, because it's quite a personal thing when you do things like that. And I was burning it, and my boyfriend, like, I did the same as you. It's half like, you can see all the writing and it's in the sink, and I was like, go away, go away. It's like you've almost set fire to the flat. So, but yeah, no, back to what you were saying about the manifestations.
So basically, I think I've grown to learn that manifestation isn't like, writing down, oh, I want this Porsche or whatever, and it's going to suddenly turn up tomorrow. Like for me, a lot of it is about a frequency that you give off to the universe, and that's what will come back to you. And some people are just like born to be like natural manifestors. Like they believe good things are going to happen to them. They're very positive. Like the vibe they give off is the vibe they get back. But not everyone is born like that. Like some people have quite a negative mindset and they don't think things are going to work out for them. And I was quite like that when I was younger.
Yeah.
So when I got The Magic, which is a book after The Secret, it makes you do a task every day for 28 days to change how you embody gratitude.
Okay.
So each one's a different thing. Like one day you might have to like imagine like just thanking someone for all the smallest things, but in your mind. So like if you see a cleaner walk into McDonald's, like you don't just look at the cleaner, like in your head you think, oh, thank you for like cleaning that street for me or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like you'll go down like a nice new road and you'll think of the highway workers that done it and you're like think, oh, thank you. And you're giving off like a positive vibe and like a gratitude rather than just driving down the road thinking, oh, that pigeon that's like he's about to die. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
I get
thinking
you.
something like so random.
Yeah.
And I think like by changing the way that I looked at things, or by changing like the things that I concentrated on, so instead of concentrating on things that weren't very favourable in my reality, I started, you know, concentrating on things that were to be grateful for. That's when my life began to change. And I think anyone who is in a bit of a rubbish situation can just try and change their mindset. And, you know, your reality is never going to be perfect. But some people are just really lucky and some people are really unlucky, and it's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
It's based on how they perceive reality.
It's giving life coach. I could sit here and do this for days. Honestly, get me a wine in hand, and I'm yours.
No, you're teetotal.
Apparently.
No, if you don't count Friday the Blip, I've been really, really good.
Do you know what though? Like, it does make sense what you're saying. Like, it literally does. If you like, it is true. If you're a really negative person, or your outlook on everything is negative, you're probably just, that's what you kind of get back. Do you know what I mean? You're like, oh, this could happen, or this. Like, you just wake up with a smile on your face. I think, it's giving life coach.
Yeah.
It is. I'm obsessed. And we wanted to touch on as well, because obviously it's basically been like a tough time for you in the media. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, it has been a whirlwind career for you as well. And you obviously had past issues in your relationship, and you've become quite an inspirational figure for a lot of women as well. How does it feel knowing that you've helped so many people by speaking out and what you've done?
Like, it feels amazing, and I definitely, like, it's got to the point now where I feel like maybe that was always going to be my purpose. Like, maybe in my lifetime I was always meant to be someone that helps change the world for females, and is someone that other women can look up to. And as much as the situation's been hard, like, I'll have so many times, especially on like my PAs, for instance, when I come out after Love Island, so many times there'd be like girls coming up to me saying like, I took a call because of you, or like, because of you I didn't feel so ashamed about what had happened to me, or, you know, because of you speaking out about what happened to you, I had the courage to speak to my mum or speak to my friends, and I'd never before been able to do that. And like, things like that mean so much to me, that I can be someone that's made a difference for like hundreds, if not thousands of women. Yeah. And even though it was hard to deal with, it's so important that they got to have that. And I do just want to have a positive effect on the world. Like, I think sometimes it can get a bit mad. I'll be in Ibiza and I'll have like a pina colada in one hand and like a crying girl on the other arm. And I'll be like, oh, do you want a shot of tequila, babe? It's fine. You know what I mean?
Craig David. Do you want Craig David?
Craig David, it'll be fine.
The shot girl never leaves. The shot girl never leaves.
Yeah, the shot girl never leaves. That'll be £3.
Yeah, cash your card.
No, that is lovely though. And it's so nice that from something that must have been so hard to then turn it in such a positive thing, and, you know, help so many people is so amazing. And as
also,
well,
on a platform like it was obviously everywhere at the time, and obviously nowadays, like, it still is. As you said, you get people coming up to you. You then also get everyone's opinions on it, and you get opinions which are just not valid, but obviously on social media and that, people throw them in. So for you to deal with all that as well, like, is really commendable, I think. Do you know what I mean? Because you get people like, oh, this didn't happen, or this didn't, and you have to deal with that knowing that it did happen or whatever. And you could, as you said, you still come out with everyone being like, no, well done. But obviously at the time, it's so hard.
You're not just dealing with your own battles, you know what I mean? You're also dealing with the public at the same time, and skewed opinions, which is just shit in general, isn't it?
And there's so many. But do you know what always makes me laugh? Like, you know, sometimes I'll get women come over, but every now and then I'll get like big geezers that are like 50 years old or something, and they'll just grab me in the street and they go, by the way, and then like walk past, like, as if to say like, oh, I would, and I'm like, all right, mate, like, like, and it's just it's a contrast of like how many people were aware of it at the time. But it was definitely a lot to handle, and it takes someone with a thick skin to be able to, to get through something like that. But I definitely think the whole experience made me extremely resilient as a person. Yeah.
And you've lobbied Parliament, haven't you, for changes? So talk to me about that, about what you've done with Parliament.
So originally, when I was going through my case, when it came to image-based sexual abuse, when you went to a court case, you had to prove that the perpetrator intended to cause distress. Right. So basically, I would have to prove that he meant to upset me or harm me by doing what he done, which is just ridiculous.
It's just so hard to
It's hard to prove. And it's like, say I went into a shop and I like robbed the shop, like loads of crisps and chocolate or whatever. I shouldn't have to prove that I intended to cause the cashier distress, because I may well not have intended to cause distress, but I've still broken a law and I've still done something that's damaging to society. So I was speaking to a lot of other victims, and they were saying to me, like, because of this law, they've all lost, or it's been thrown out. Really. They need like a text or something to prove it. And for a lot of the girls, they didn't even have a conversation with their perpetrator before. They just got sent a link where it was suddenly already on the internet, and they had no chance to say, you know, this would damage me or really like affect my life. So that's what I originally campaigned for, and I got taken into the Ministry of Justice, and they was like, we've removed the intent to cause distress.
Wow.
And that meant so much for me, because I was very lucky to have still managed to, you know, get a guilty verdict regardless of that, but so many women didn't, and now hopefully it will be so much easier for them when it comes to it.
Yeah, that's incredible, because when is anyone going to explicitly say that they cause, you know, they intended to do that? That's never ever going to happen. So yeah, no, it's a great thing
my
to
mind
do.
is that was always a thing in the first place.
Yeah.
You then like reel it back a bit, and then you're like, why was that even ever a thing in the first place? Because as you said, like, it's just like tit for tat, isn't it? They'd be like, no, I didn't mean to do that. Someone got hold of my phone, blah, blah. And then, as you said, you don't have a case, you don't have a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's like I think, like, regardless, it's always going to cause distress if someone shares like a picture or video of you in a sexual act. Like
it just affects you in every different way: work, life, this, that, and the other. Especially as well, someone with you and a platform. Everything is just.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because people know you in the street and stuff. So as soon as it's out there, it's just so much. Like, yeah, it's crazy. But fair play for doing that. Like, that's pretty crazy.
You had conversations with Labour MPs, didn't you, about basically running for Essex MP? Are you still? Is that? Tell me.
There was conversations about how it would be like great if I was an MP, and obviously I've really started getting into politics, and I do find it really interesting, and I love being able to have a voice to make a difference. But I just don't know if that's something I'd be better off doing later in life.
I get you.
Because you know, if you become an MP, right, you can't have any freebies. You can't have any free. I post buy on life with freebies.
Stop.
Like,
wait, no gifting.
My sofa's no gifting because it's seen as bribery. My sofa's free. My bed's free. My Botox is free. Like,
no.
Can you imagine? Like, I think I would plummet into debt if I had to keep gifting.
No, I do understand. I also
it's seen as bribery.
It's a double-edged sword, because there's not that many younger MPs. So it's, do you know what I mean? But I do understand, because it would affect your actual line of work and what you do.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's camp that you got, you know, you've had those conversations and spoken about it. I fucking love that.
I never say never, but like, obviously at the moment, like, if I want to go on the trending voyages.
Do you know what, babe? If you want a sofa, you want a sofa.
There's a gifted holiday to Ibiza, like.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you made a documentary about your experience. So how was that, letting cameras in and being quite vulnerable in a different way when you did that?
I mean, it was just like you had to just like switch off and just not overthink it and just live in the moment. And I was lucky that I had like one camera girl who became a friend to me.
Oh, amazing.
Like, really respectful throughout the process. But at times it was just wild, because no one was allowed to know that we were filming, because one, it hadn't been announced, and two, I didn't want it to get used against me in the court case.
Okay.
So like I'd be like getting ready to go to like this serious court case, like a monumental part of my life, about to give like a witness statement. And then at the same time I'm doing like 4 walking shots into the taxi. Do you know what I mean? Like, can we just do that one more time? And I'm shaking like a leaf.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's
when
crazy.
we'd be driving towards the court, I'd have like the camera woman like hidden down in the footwell of the car. Because like I can't get pictured with a big like documentary camera.
Yeah.
So it was a lot to navigate during what was already like such a high stress time. But I also knew that like it was going to be such a poignant, is that the word?
Yeah.
Documentary. And I knew that it was like such a massive thing that was hopefully going to change society, and it did. So I definitely made the right decision doing it, but at the time it was a lot. Yeah.
And you've interviewed like massive MPs as well, haven't you? It's like Keir Starmer. Who else have you spoken with?
So I've spoken with Tony Blair, Sadiq Khan.
I'm also not that into politics, so I'm 100. I know these people, so that's great. At least I feel like if you're from Essex and you know people, and I can, I
feel like Tony Blair was one of like the scariest ones.
Really?
Not that he's scary, but like he's such a powerful person. Like he run the country for like 2. Yeah. What do you call it? 2 terms.
I'm proud of you for knowing that. I'm sat like this.
2 terms.
Okay.
And like I don't know, I was just like, my energy, you know, you can feel energy.
Definitely.
And like my energy was like through the roof when I first had to sit down in front of him, and you know, when you like, don't mess this up.
Yeah.
But he was actually lovely, and before we started filming, he was like, you know, I followed your case. And I thought,
lovely.
wow, like Tony Blair is aware of like something that happened with me. Like that's like crazy, and he was like talking to my mum and like.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's hard in these situations as well because it's like how serious people take you sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? When you're like, I've been on reality TV, I've done this. And obviously, as you said, Tony Blair, he run 2 terms, whatever. He's probably in his like 50s, 60s. Like, it's nice that they actually are like, they want to talk to you and they understand. Because obviously that's why, as you said about running as like a politician, they probably, a lot of them are like, she's 29, she's been on this. That's what
there's
face,
preconceptions, isn't there, and judgment before people even listen to what you've got to say. But the fact that you've been in those rooms and held your own and, changed laws is, commendable and huge. So.
And it's weird. Like, I was doing a speech the other day at the Labour conference and my doc team came with me and they were like, oh, it's actually like weird to see how much you thrive in this environment. Like, I didn't expect you. They just said that they've never seen me like the way that I was when I was giving that speech there. And it's really weird. Like, I do just feel really comfortable within a political sphere for some reason, and it just, I don't know.
That's incredible though.
You got to remember, like, people that do politics as well, like, they're good talkers, like, they're funny, like, they can't just be like any old like librarian, just get up and say nothing. No, but nothing against librarians, but you know what I mean?
I used to be a student librarian.
Shout out. Shout out.
No, I'm joking. Yeah, I do understand what you mean. That you got to have a bit of a character behind you to.
Like, they've got great comedic value, and they're really amazing people, a lot of them.
Oh, well, Georgia for
maybe
MP.
in the future, yeah.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna be the next Anne Whitcomb.
So, Celeb SAS. You are on at the moment. This is one show that I watch and I see and I think never in a million years. And you went there and you've done that.
It is crazy.
It's toughest reality show on TV is what everyone says.
And I don't even think you could put it, from what we see, under a reality show, because in that category is Love Island, where you get a nice bed, you get this. You're getting woken up at 1 a.m. and thrown in cold water and stuff. Like, it's absolutely wild. Like, spoke to like shit 24/7, but obviously it's all part of the show.
Yeah.
I get it, but also I'm like, why would you put yourself in that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's actually a good question to ask.
Why?
Why?
What's the reason?
I remember thinking that actually when Camilla Furlow done it, thinking I would never do that. Like, it looks horrific.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I wanted something that tested my resilient side. Like, when it comes to dating shows, I'm obviously not very good at them. I'm actually quite good at things when it comes to just like mental grit and like physical grit. So I knew it would be something that would be good for my character.
Yeah.
And I keep getting distracted because you've got like a Pete Wicks lookalike, like
Jason Momoa.
Jason
Oh, is that who it is? 'Cause that's
my mum's obsessed with him, so we've got a little picture of him.
Oh,
It's not Pete Wicks, I
thought it
promise.
was like Pete with like a slit in his eyebrow and a beard, because he obviously done it as well. But no, I wanted something that just tested my mental resilience, and it's so funny because when I've been watching the last couple of episodes, I didn't realise that a lot of people were really struggling, and then every now and then the camera just keeps cutting to me, and I'm like, I'm just like having a great
Like a pageant face.
Yeah, I'm just like having a great time. Like, they keep just cutting to me smiling.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was in the Scouts when I was younger.
Oh, okay. So you've always been a little bit outdoorsy.
I've always been a bit outdoorsy.
Okay.
And then also, like, I think, SAS always follows someone who's had a bit of a story where they've gone through, a traumatic couple of years or maybe something in their childhood. And I obviously fit really well into that category. And I thought it was a really good time in my journey to sort of highlight what I'd actually been through.
Yeah.
I've been through so much more than the public even realise, and use that as a way of like overcoming it and like feeling stronger and maybe like letting go of some of that trauma. Which
It's also
100%.
another huge audience. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Celeb SAS, so many people watch something like that. Do you know what I mean?
I also agree that it's not the people that would typically watch a Love Island. So you're, you know what I mean? Getting your name out there in a different light as well.
I've had a lot more like adults coming up to me in the street, like recently, like, oh, I saw you on SAS. And,
amazing.
Yeah. Whereas usually it's like obviously like younger people will come up to me.
Yeah, I can imagine. And in terms of preparation for it, did you do much to prepare going in, or did you just think I'm just going to just rock up and?
I don't even know how you prepare for
because I know some
that.
people get into their fitness a lot more and do that. Or did you? Yeah, like did you prepare much?
Yeah, no, I did.
You did.
So like I only had a few weeks, but I knew this guy called Gary who's a trainer and he's ex-military.
Oh, okay.
So I
handy person
immediately
to know.
Exactly.
Shout out, Gary.
Shout out, Gary.
I immediately got him been recruited to help me out, and he was making the geezer is absolutely wild. Like you've never seen anything like
Is he
it.
hard as nails?
He's hard as nails, and he
like
just
it.
doesn't get it. So like one day I'd turn up in the gym, and he'd have like another man in a ring with like one of those like helmet things on, and he'd be like, right, you've got to fight this guy today. And I'd be like, Gary, I've got GMB in the morning. Like, I really don't want to fight this man. And he'd be like, get in the ring, you're fighting this man. Or like another day, he took me to like the Essex Rapids, where everyone goes down on like canoes and stuff in the rapids.
Where is this?
I didn't get a canoe. He just threw me
you
in. He just threw me in and just made me swim. It was
you
in
know
Lee
what?
Valley.
Fair, because like
Lee Valley. I
Lee
wanna
Valley.
go.
No, it was actually really fun. You
Was
can do like
it?
parties there and stuff. You all go rapiding, and then after you go to the rooftop for drinks.
Sure.
so funny.
You know, he just flung me in and was like, fend for yourself. And then he'd make me like crawl through the grass outside the gym, but there was like duck poo and everything. And he'd go around me whilst he was like mowing the grass, and he'd just make me like army crawl through all the duck poo.
Oh.
And then I also went
you
to
really
Norfolk
did
boot camp
prepare.
for like a couple of weeks just before as well to get myself as physically fit as possible.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I done what I could, but he was making me do. He taught me how to climb a rope.
Yeah, but that's so good.
That's
because,
so
like,
good.
Yeah.
I would have just been turned up, do you know what I mean? Straight off my sofa.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. This works out. That's pretty insane.
And I ordered like the backpack as well, and I like weighed out putting 15 kilos on it, because I don't think that people realise like throughout the process of filming, we've always got 15 kilos on our back, and that makes everything 10 times harder. Like it looks like you're just running around with a backpack,
Yeah.
but they weigh it out every day to make sure it weighs 15 kilos.
Right.
And it's so hard for someone of my frame to have to carry that around.
That's a lot.
So I used to like run in like boots that I ordered off Amazon or something
Like
with this
weighted boots and
backpack.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, with the thing on it.
I bet people watching you at local park thinking,
Oh yeah, it was
nutter.
so embarrassing.
She's going through it.
And I would never see my friends. Like I went for a stage of like I need to train, you know, I need
Okay.
to like laser in. And the only time I would see my mates is if they would come with me on like a hike in the forest or something, and they put all the wine in my backpack, and like I'd make them like walk with me for like 5 hours, and I'd just be like the walking bar.
Oh my god,
I love that. What was the like biggest challenge on the show that you had to overcome? Like, what was the hardest one for you? I mean, they make you do some awful stuff, but I didn't know if there was
mean-
one that stood out, you know?
So far,
Mm.
it would be like further on in the series, it gets a lot tougher.
Mm-hmm.
But for what we've seen so far, I think it was a backwards dive, because I've had some real flops before on water. Like if
Okay.
you go down my Instagram, you know them big bouncy things. I've had like this one thing where like someone sits on the end and they jump on it.
and then you fly.
Someone done it, but I flew. I went backwards 3 times, landed really badly, and the lifeguards had to get me out.
Oh.
And there's another time I done the slip and fly, and I landed really badly. Like I couldn't talk. I had to get a tequila shot. I was like,
I told you the shot girl never leaves.
it was in Thailand, and I was like, help. So I'd had some really bad experiences anyway.
Okay.
So to have to throw myself backwards off like a double-decker
In the
boat
dark.
in the dark,
Yeah.
like you said, we'd just been asleep as well, so in the middle of the night, and I flopped it so bad. That was probably like the most like demoralising one for me.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely. That's the one where I would have gone, I'm okay.
Yeah, and
I'm
then you've got
okay.
to sit like next to the water, which is freezing cold, soaking wet, whilst everyone else does it. So
Yeah.
you're freezing for hours after, and you just want to cry.
Who did you feel closest to in the cast, or who did you build a relationship with most? With
I
your
would say Bianca became like my older sister.
Yeah.
Lani Daniels I got really close with. Marnie, Pete, Bobby.
Lovely.
Like I definitely built some really good connections.
Yeah.
But like some of them were my friends anyway, so I built on top of it.
That's
But
good.
Bianca was someone that went from someone I didn't know that well to someone that will be in my life forever. I
Oh,
would say.
amazing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
one of those situations, isn't it? Like a pressure cooker where you kind of, have to form that community and that
Yeah.
relationship with other people to get through it. Otherwise, it's quite a tough thing to get through on your own if they're just screaming at you constantly,
Yeah,
innit?
it'd get pretty lonely, wouldn't it? So
Yeah.
that's good that you've built them.
And you have to like sleep in like wet clothes and things like that, don't you? And like get
Savage.
just screamed at constantly. And
Yeah, you're completely shouted at all the time. You can never ever relax. So you're always on edge, and you're always ready for someone to call you. You can't go to the toilet unless someone's with you. So if you've all just laid down, finally took all your clothes off, just rested, if you sit there and think I need a wee, you've got to wake someone up and make them put all of their kit back on and walk outside with you so they can watch you like piss
What?
in this
'Cause I think you
hole.
might do a runner or something.
I think it's because in the actual SAS, if someone wants to walk on their own to the bathroom and they got shot in the head, they wouldn't have time to go back, and there'd be no one to run back and warn the other recruits.
So they
I
really
think-
do it like by the book.
It's really like that. And like one thing I'll tell you about that production, bearing in mind, like I've been around the reality TV scene, I've never done a show where you actually don't ever see a producer. You don't see a runner, a producer, anyone. Like it's never. It's completely.
So your headspace is like you are training to be in the military.
Yeah, if you want to speak to production, if something's getting on your nerves and you take your armband off and you go home, like that is what it is. Like there is no rights whatsoever. You could see a doctor if you wanted to, but it's completely their world once you're in it. It's like a complete alternate reality, and it never breaks.
I'm sorry, that's hell.
Yeah.
That's hell. But a massive test for like your mental and physical strength, and I guess like you've come away from it and thought, I'm so much stronger than I ever like thought I was,
what's
innit?
the outlook now like? On
like how do you feel afterwards?
Because obviously you don't do things in SAS that's an everyday thing. So you might not. Do you know what I mean? You say, for example, you've been thrown into the water at 1 a.m. Obviously, you probably won't encounter that again. But I guess it's more mental, isn't it, with it all?
Yeah.
You're now like, do you know what? I've done that on that show. Like, I can do this. I can get this spider out my room. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know.
No, still.
Do you feel like, is it, because some people it
I don't like
awakes.
spiders.
I hate spiders, to be fair.
Same. Has it like awoken something in you where you feel like you could maybe do more?
I'm running
like,
a marathon or something. Like,
oh, that's not really. I'm talking like skydives or like something crazy. Like
I've run a marathon and done a skydive.
well, then, you know what? I'm just a huge pussy.
Yeah.
No, it definitely makes things like, you know, a body pump class, for instance. You think I carried weights 4 kilometers up a snowy mountain. Like I can achieve this.
This is a piece of piss.
You learn things from the DS. Like you can see how they're just very like. They're just like, and what? Get on with it.
It's
and
a different way of life,
they
isn't it,
teach you a different mentality, and like they'll always say, like one thing they'll say when you're really struggling is it's just a moment in time and it will pass. And I always took that from my everyday life. So like, if something's getting on your nerves or something feels a struggle, it's just a moment in time. And if you can just, you know, just push on and just get through it, then the other side is success. And it's just a passage in time. And in a few hours, few minutes, whatever, that moment won't exist anymore. And like, I'll always take that from what they taught me.
Yeah, it's just a huge mental thing, isn't it, as well?
Did like...
Makes me feel, gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Nick, say you've got a phone call tomorrow and they're like, right, guys, you can do like Celebrity SAS, get on the plane in 6 weeks. You're telling me you say no?
I don't know. It's a lot, innit? I probably would like to give it a go, but then also I'd feel like a failure if I didn't.
This is what I mean. The fear of failure, like it's a lot, isn't it? If I had time to train, maybe I'd find Gary.
Look how
if I found Gary,
yeah, you can borrow Gary anytime. He's available.
I'll get you and Bobby to coach me, and then get Gary involved.
How well Bobby done, and he was so scared in the lead up. Honestly, when we was doing the lockdown before, he was scared to walk up this mountain, and he had a panic attack on the side of it because it was like
too much. It's just out of the norm,
innit?
Big
hill. He thinks it was mountain, but it was like. But he came on so far, and he does impeccably well on the show, like which you'll see.
I guess the whole thing with it as well is that you don't know how to deal with these things because you've never been faced with them. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm decent with heights, but as you said, you might go up a mountain and I might have a panic attack, for example, because you've never dealt with being that high up and with that altitude. Like, it's just the fear of the unknown.
It's how your body reacts to things, isn't it? Because I freeze, and then it's like in those situations you can't freeze.
When like the cameras did turn off, I'm guessing by what you said, everything was still just so like the cameras were on basically. Like, did anyone ever like crack a smile and stuff, or was it just always like everyone was just like in the zone?
No, there was definitely times when we cracked a smile, but there was like a mix of it. Like some so like some of us would like have a few jokes, but then other people would be like, oh, you know, we're not meant to be like having jokes. We're in the SAS. But it's like, you know,
you need
we need to have like, I'm sure even in the SAS they have a laugh every now and then when they get in bed and stuff, because they have to. It's still your life, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
But no, there was definitely like a lot of banter, or in the trucks and stuff, because it was so far away from reality. Like, I remember once a truck stopped and we was next to this man on the street in like New Zealand, and he was drinking a beer, and Pete was going, oh yeah, drink that beer. And I was sitting next to Pete, was going, oh, watch him take another sip. And this guy's like sipping on this beer, and we were like that up against the window, like just like losing it.
Yeah.
But it was like we was laughing so much because this guy doesn't even know. He's just sitting there like enjoying his strongbow or whatever, and we're salivating at him like through the window of a truck.
Yeah, that's loopy.
An army truck.
Would you ever do another survival show? You know, like they do like the like Bear Grylls style
on the
things.
island and stuff.
Would you ever do something like that?
Yeah, I'd love to do that. that.
Okay.
I'd love to. Obviously, Pete's done that
Pete
because
done
that
it,
came
yeah.
up when we was on the show. Anthony Agogo done it as well, and they just said that the boredom really gets to you when you're on there.
Oh, okay.
But I think I'd love that. Just laying on a
Solitude.
bit of sand. Yeah.
It's hard
Time
though, innit?
alone.
Shows like that are just like, yeah, it's the boredom. It's the starting to get bit. You don't have any food.
It's the bit.
The water, like you can't shower properly. Everyone's got sand in their eyes.
I've got
It's
that
just-
type of blood where the mosquitoes and stuff love it. So I think that would be my first hurdle. I've got a bite on my face right now. Like I've had to put a bit of concealer on it today. Who gets bitten on their face?
In October, like-
Do you know what I
Where have
mean?
you been?
Also-
to my mum's. That's what's even more worrying.
The funniest thing is you moaning about a bite when George just literally just done that.
I don't
So
know.
it's- I've
See,
got
this
a
is what I
bite.
mean when you said about it, and I'm like, my bite.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We've got a little game of Would You Rather.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so it's like kind of survivally themed. So we'll go through this and reel them off. Well, I think I know the answer to this one anyway. But would you rather bungee jump or go skydiving?
Bungee jump, because I've skydived, so I'd like to try something that I haven't done before.
Do you ever get scared of the rope snapping?
My biggest fear.
Well, no, there was always that rumour that your eyeballs could come out your head, wasn't
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
You not
yeah.
heard that?
Or if
Yeah.
the rope's too long and you do hit the water, it's like falling from a building.
Yeah.
So it's like I'd be like, can we just measure out the rope one more time and make sure it's not gonna?
But I always just think
Terrifying.
if it's your time to go, it's your time to go. Like if I'm on
Yeah.
a plane and there's some turbulence, my mum's bitching about it. I'm like, you're about to ruin the last 10 minutes of our lives. With this plane crashing,
No.
being miserable.
No, I'm
like
going
I just
to
think if it's your
meltdown.
time, it's your time. Like
Yeah.
just go for it. And like it's probably quite a quick ending, isn't it?
Yeah,
Unless it's just
true.
the eyeballs fell out. Then
Yeah. All right. Next question.
That was my favourite answer. That was better than I
Would
thought.
you rather get stung by an insect or bitten by an animal? I mean, that's very vague.
So let's say partially lethal sting or pulling off a limb. That's quite a good elevation.
I mean-
or limb taken off with an animal.
No, I said
No.
limb gouge.
Yeah, but-
They're just two different
you're
things.
gonna go for a partially lethal
Sting
over
yeah,
losing
after
a
you're
limb
losing
any
a
day.
whole limb. Are you?
But
all
I've
there?
been bitten by a lot of monkeys.
Monkeys?
2 monkeys. I'm actually like, and on separate occasions. Once on the head, once on the back of the leg.
What was that like?
Horrible. Horrible.
In
and
where?
now I don't
Where?
really like them anymore.
London
The
Zoo.
first time was in Vietnam and it bit me on the head, but I had so many hair extensions, it didn't pierce the skin.
Okay.
But the second time was on Monkey Island in Thailand and it just come from behind me and it had big red bollocks and it was like and then it just grabbed my leg and bit it like that and I've still got like a scar and I had
Did you have to get the
I
jabs
had
and
to get
everything?
tetanus. I couldn't drink for a week.
Holy
It was awful.
shit.
That's awful.
Couldn't drink for a week on holiday in pee.
I'm sorry, that is absolutely
So I'll
terrifying.
take
but
the insect bite.
yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I did that, you got the monkey forest in Bali,
Yeah.
and that was scary for me because they steal everything from everyone. And then if you try and get it
Yeah.
back, they get really aggressive.
Oh God.
Sounds like mum. Would you rather do 1,000 press-ups and have a bed or no press-ups and sleep in the cold? Like, what's your press-up game
I'd
like?
rather do 1,000 press-ups and have a bed
Yeah.
because I hate being cold. It's the cold that got it for me.
Okay, the
Especially
cold.
after SAS, like I just don't like being cold. at
So
all.
if you had the choice between being too hot or too cold, it'd be too cold. No, too hot, sorry.
too hot any day. Like when
Yeah.
I used to work in an office, I remember I would like only on
Yeah.
like a Friday at 4:00, I fill up my tea mug with like a glass of wine or a pina colada or whatever.
As you do.
You know, out the can. I wouldn't always announce it.
Yeah.
And I would go into the toilet and I would put on the hand dryer and I would sit under that in the heat with my drink.
That's
and
gorgeous.
I imagine that I was abroad.
I'm absolutely-
That's the story.
No,
and that's because I can't stand the cold and I can't stand.
I'm genuinely obsessed with that. That is such good
What was
advice. No, I absolutely love that. I love that.
For anyone
funny.
having a bad day on a Friday, just fill up, pretend it's Tetley's, fill it up with some Sauvignon Blanc and get under that heater in the toilet. And it'll be just like you're in Marbella.
As you do. Might put that as
As
my
we
next.
said, the shot goal never leaves. That's the running theme of this pod and I'm obsessed.
Would you rather get drafted in the army or would you want to be staying at home? Would you rather get in the mix?
I think
or-
I know the answer to that one too. To be honest.
Absolutely staying at home. Like I remember seeing on the way back from New Zealand, I bumped into like someone that worked on the cast. They was like, "Oh, you were amazing. Like you'd be great to actually be in the army. Have you ever thought about it?" I was like, "Absolutely not. Like
Yeah.
absolutely no. Don't get me wrong. I think it's amazing what everyone does for the army. But like when you see what these people have to go through, the DS, the stories they tell us, it's so awful.
Yeah.
And like thank God people do it for our country, but it won't be me.
No way.
Exactly the same answer that I would have answered. So 100%. Would you rather drink your own wee or an animal's wee?
My own way.
Yeah, that's surely your own. You know what if you've just been drinking water and a bit of coffee, like you know
It
what you're
depends
getting.
how-
Oh, a bit of
do
coffee.
It
Yeah, but,
depends.
like,
What if the
worse,
animal's really hydrated and you're not?
But how do you know the animal's going to be hydrated? That's such a stupid thing to say.
It's probably more likely to be hydrated than me.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Like if you're struggling and your
The animal
wee's
ain't
like.
been in Starbucks all day, is it?
It's also
I have.
hypothetical. What's going on?
Sorry, we're getting really into this. Would you want to ask that one?
Would you rather fight in a Misfits boxing card or take on MMA?
Well, I've already done an MMA fight.
Have you?
Shut
Yeah,
up.
I done a celebrity MMA fight, and actually, like people have spoken about would I do like Misfits boxing, but I wouldn't. I would never fight again. Like I won with a spinning back fist, and it was a great, it was a great
Sick.
experience. But do you know what? Like the training for it, like for like 6 weeks, I was just completely laser focused on that
Okay.
training.
Yeah.
And it was like a bucket list thing for me. It's also like super like not a feminine thing to be doing, and I just can't be bothered to like get into another ring and be like, "Ooh," like
Yeah,
I'm more
fair.
in my feminine era now.
Okay, you've done so much. Like I feel like I need to touch grass and get outside some more. I feel like I need. I need to go and
Go
do
hug a
things.
tree.
I get bit by a monkey man.
One more.
Oh, the top one. Would you rather be lost at sea or lost in the desert?
Oh, this is.
Lost at sea, it's a bit like a booze cruise, isn't it?
I mean,
80%
of the ocean hasn't been discovered. That's
Yeah, but you're not going to go down and look for it, are you?
No, I'm saying you could be in that 80% that hasn't, so you don't know what's underneath you. But
No,
then
they
also
mean
if there's-
underneath the ocean. They
No,
don't
they
mean
don't.
on the
No,
top.
Are you on a boat? Or are you just floating?
Yeah, let's say you're on a boat.
Yeah, I think you're on a boat.
Still
Yeah, and you're lost.
terrifying.
And in the desert, you've only really got like a camel. You know?
You're on ground though. You know you're not getting overturned.
Yeah, but then
You've got weapons on the boat.
How?
Fuck all in the desert.
How?
you
My
can-
camel might shoot flames. Fire.
You've
Fucking-
literally got nothing.
yeah, you've got
At,
nothing.
at least there'll be like utensils and stuff on the boat.
yeah,
I'm not gonna have this conversation. It's fine, guys.
but then you run out of drinking water. But then you don't have drinking water in the desert. You just be drinking
no,
wee.
but
wouldn't
No,
you?
no, but there is something you can do where you get
down.
seawater
okay.
and you let it you put like some sort of a contraption over it and you leave it in the heat and it makes the water condense and then it goes over to like the other carp and it leaves the salt in that one. I see it on Science. I saw it in Science.
I
once.
see it on site.
I see it in Science once 20 years ago.
What's next for you? What's next on
This
the
is not a would you
horizon?
rather, by the way.
Yeah, sorry, we ended the game. Yeah, what have you got coming up? You got any more documentaries coming? Like, tell us about it.
Yeah, so I'm just working on 2 new projects at the moment with ITV, and they'll be looking into image-based sexual abuse, who's making all the money, and then the other one will be looking into deepfake.
Okay.
So deepfake
Yeah, yeah.
pornography, because honestly, the way it's rising is just insane. And it wasn't until I actually started this project that I realised, 1, how realistic it is, but 2, how it can affect everyone, like not just celebrities and like members of parliament. Eventually, it's going to start affecting just like the everyday individual.
Yeah.
And like there's even apps out there where it can literally take one of your pictures and with a click of the button, it will show what you may or may not look like naked.
Oh,
So,
wow.
you know, for someone that obviously hasn't seen another person naked, if they see that image, they're probably going to assume it was them because
Yeah.
it's that realistic
Yeah.
and it literally costs nothing to use.
Well,
So-
it's even like with TikTok and stuff nowadays, like people obviously get like Drake's voice and they make a song and stuff, and it's
the rise
so
of AI.
realistic.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
There's been so many ones with Justin Bieber, haven't they?
Yeah,
Like singing
it's-
songs about
or
P. Diddy that weren't true.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was an MJ one. They were like, "This song should have been made," and it literally sounds like it basically is Michael Jackson. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's just terrifying.
Yeah, it
It's
is
like,
really.
It's not real.
Also,
And all the comments like, "When was this song made?" And people don't realise that it's fake. They're like, well, "How have we missed this song all these years?" And
I
I'm like,
saw this owl. It is on topic, I promise.
I saw this owl.
and it was like this giant owl, and I fully was like, "Oh my god!" And I showed Kane, and he was like, "That's AI." But
Yeah.
it just goes to show like
How realistic.
there's no. I mean, on Twitter, you've got that thing or X where it's like community notes. It tells you it's fake, but no other apps do that. And as you've rightly said, there's apps that are literally letting you see someone naked.
Yeah.
And then that's the first images they see of you online. That's crazy. So I think that's such a good one to delve into and look at.
Yeah,
It's
and
scary,
I'm
innit?
hoping to, you know, change the legislation around some of it because at the moment, like government aren't really keeping up with like the rise in deepfake, and which is fair because it's a very new technology.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's growing really quickly and it needs to change. But yeah, so for now, I'm just sticking to being a documentarian and doing as
I
many
love
things as
it.
possible. But
the CV's growing.
the
I
thing
know,
is growing.
isn't
But
it?
yeah, I'd still like to do some more entertainment stuff coming up as well. Try and balance out the seriousness with a bit of lightheartedness.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. I can't wait to see you on another desert island sometime.
Drinking
soon.
piss.
Yeah.
And what a note to end that on. Thank you so much for popping by. It's been so
Thanks,
lovely to
guys.
chat to you.
Thanks
and
for having me.
we'll have to go out for a shot soon.
Yeah.
And for everyone at home, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe.
If you're listening on Spotify, obviously rate us 5 stars. It helps massively. And yeah, that is us for this week. Thank you so much, Georgia.
Thank
you
you
for watching, guys. See you later.